Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back into another edition of Jake's Takes. I am your host, Jake Masucci. And today we got another episode of the show. Today it is just me. I'm talking NBA playoffs. I'm just going through two of the series right now. I to be honest with you guys, I've been struggling to lock in a little bit. I had my finals, I had all of that, and I was like, I'm gonna come back when I feel like I'm completely caught up and completely ready to do NBA basketball again. And I feel like I'm back to that point. The second round kind of got me going. I watched the first round. I watched the Pistons very closely. And we're definitely going to do a Pistons podcast in the future, talking about our season, talking about that series, talking about like the future and what to expect there soon. So be on the lookout for that. That'll probably be coming out eventually. But I feel really good talking about the second round now. So today we're going to be focusing on the Nuggets and Thunder. Talk about that for a good 15 minutes. And then we also talk about Indiana Cleveland. These are two really interesting series. I've rewatched most of the games in this series, so I've watched them like once to twice. And I feel really good talking about these two. And kind of where it's going. Like these are two really interesting one seeds, like two young teams. Cleveland struggled to start in the series, and OKC is really in a fight for their lives with Denver. So I think they're two really, really interesting series. So we're gonna kind of discuss that. The draft lotteries tonight, and then the other two series will continue tonight with Knicks Celtics, and then Golden State and Minnesota. So we'll talk about those series and the draft lottery tomorrow. So today's podcast, which Monday, will be coming out whenever I get this finished up. And then tomorrow we'll talk about the lottery and we'll talk about the other series. So without further ado, I'm going to cue the music. All right. Welcome back into the show, and let's get started. We're going to be talking about some NBA playoff action, so let's get right into it. Let's start with Denver and OKC. I'm really only going to mainly focus today on the Nuggets, Thunder, and then the Cavs and Pacers, because this is the one I've been the most locked in on, I'd say. I've watched pretty much every game, and this Nuggets Thunder series is just so much fun. I mean, you're seeing two teams that, like, especially these game 3, game 4, you're just like, man, talent level on display is just unbelievable. We're getting the MVP frontrunner in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then we're also getting the MVP like second in Nikola Jokic. If you're asking MVP, it's either Shai or Jokic. There's no other guy. There's no other guy when you're talking MVP. And to me, I think Jokic is the MVP. And that's because the fact that this Nuggets team is even in this situation is just flat out insane. Like, the Nuggets should not have beaten the Clippers. Let's be real. The Clippers were way better than them. The fact that the Nuggets got out of that series and won it in 7 is just a testament to Jokic and his superiority for the game right now, because he's clearly the best player in the world, and he's clearly the best offensive player we've seen probably since LeBron's like heyday in the 2018, 2019 Cleveland Cavaliers runs and all that stuff. Jokic has just been unreal. And I'm going to be honest, I was always a Jokic guy, but I never thought he would be this good. Never in my life. Like, the stuff that he's doing is unbelievable. And if you watch game 1 of this series, it was just on full display. The Nuggets won this one 121 to 119, and Jokic had 42, 22, and 6. Like, those are just ridiculous numbers. And the Thunder went into this one, tried to switch up a lot of different things. They didn't go initially to their too big look, which they've been trying to do. And the too big look, if you haven't been watching and haven't been aware, is pretty much they'd start Hardenstein and Chet Holmgren and have one of them kind of roaming. They started with Chet guarding Jokic and Hardenstein rolling, which is kind of surprising because Hardenstein's more of the physical body, so he could kind of get Jokic off his spot. And then Chet's a really good rim protector inside. So it was kind of interesting that they started that way. And Jokic dominated. He was 15 of 29 in this game for his 42 points. And they couldn't stop him. But if you're looking at Denver, And the main thing that I think you should be like looking at is Aaron Gordon. He has been flat out sensational throughout the whole playoff. He had that unbelievable game winning dunk to win them, like help them win the series against the Clippers. And then you're looking at this game, he hits a game winning three to pretty much seal the deal in this one. He had 22 points, 14 rebounds, and was just sensational throughout the whole game. But if you watch this game, the Thunder controlled the whole game. Were winning most of the time, and SGA was awesome. Played really well with 33, 10, and 8. Hardenstein was good. Like the Thunder, everybody was scoring, everybody was doing their part. Chet was okay. He's been very up and down throughout this series. I love his game though. He can just do so much, and he creates another stretch guy. He's another stretch guy. He can block shots. He does a lot for them. One guy off the Thunder bench that I think needs to be better is Isaiah Joe. He hasn't been shooting great, and it's kind of led to OKC not shooting great throughout this series, which is kind of something I'm going to get into. But looking at this one, the Thunder controlled it throughout, and to me, this one was more on Mark Daigneault than anybody else who's the Thunder head coach. Like he tried to do multiple things that just didn't really feel like he needed to try, in this game. And I especially think the not switching to Hardenstein on Jokic earlier was kind of a mistake there. And it really cost them in the end. The Thunder ended up losing this game 121 to 119, and they controlled it throughout. Caruso had 20 points off the bench, and you're not going to get a crazy performance like that from Caruso very often. So losing a game like this, if you're a Thunder, it hurts. It hurts. But the fact that they responded as well as they did on Wednesday with their 149 to 106 win was insane. And looking at this game from top to bottom, the Nuggets stood no chance. They switched the matchup, having Hardenstein on them. The Thunder were just on fire to start the game. We're rolling. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had probably his best game we've seen in the playoffs, where he had 34, 4, and 8. Didn't play the fourth quarter. Was 11 of 13 from the floor. Was awesome. And then Chet, he was rebounding. He was doing stuff. I think this was probably his best game of the series. He had a pretty good game 3 as well, but looked really good. Jalen Williams was all over the place. Hardenstein was awesome defending Jokic, and then was 6 of 7 on offense. And they just got great bench performances. This was Isaiah Joe's game where he goes 5 for 5 and 4 for 4 from 3. That's what you need from him. The other games, which I'll talk about, he didn't really show up. Casey Wallace coming in, playing great defense, doing well on the offensive end as well. You're just getting stuff from multiple guys. Caruso, this wasn't his best game, but everybody else really, really stepped up. Jalen Williams off the bench gave Jokic a different look. He was really physical with him, and Jokic struggled in this one. He really just wasn't on. He was 6 of 16. He was trying to get other people involved. The others just really struggled in this one. The Nuggets still hit 15 threes, and it didn't matter because the Thunder were just absolutely rolling. They hit 16 threes, shot 56% from the floor. And when you're playing against an OKC team like that in OKC, you expected them to bounce back. You didn't expect them to just flat out dominate it like they did. So that was really impressive, that bounce back. Now, looking at game 3, this one was really a terrific game from start to finish. The Thunder kind of controlled the game. It was back and forth. You saw multiple great offensive performances. And this one, it was really interesting because OKC was controlling it throughout. They were rebounding great, had the edge on the rebounded glass. Isaiah Joe only playing 3 minutes again. My biggest thing for the Thunder is you need to get Isaiah Joe going because he's so big off their bench, being able to shoot, being able to do multiple things that they couldn't get him going here. And I'm looking at him OKC's dominating the glass. OKC's winning this game. It's going to be hard for Denver to show up. They need everybody to play well. And guess what? Other than Jokic, everybody played well. And that's exactly what you need in order to win a game like this. Aaron Gordon was 4 for 6 from 3, 7 of 11 from the field, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Just an unbelievable game from him. Michael Porter Jr., 5 of 6 from 3, playing with that left shoulder that Billis is saying, and the announcers are saying, he can't even lift his arm up, past his head. So the fact that he's been able to do this, and the fact that he was able to shoot that well in that game is just so huge for him. So that was a sensational game from him. And then Jamal Murray, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, hit some big time shots, especially in that overtime. Aaron Gordon It's the three to tie the game with 33 seconds, like just showing his clutch gene. It was just flat out incredible. And when you're looking at it from a or from a Thunder perspective here, Shea just needs to be better. He was 7 of 22, 18 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. He just wasn't on. Jalen Williams had an awesome game with 32 points. Chet Holmgren played pretty well. He didn't shoot well, 7 of 19, but 18 points, 16 rebounds. 16 rebounds were really impressive from him. Hardenstein kind of struggled, 10 and 10, just couldn't get his floater to go. He needs that floater to go because the Nuggets started going to a kind of 1-2-2 type 3-2 zone that really got the Thunder confused. It got them off their game. It made them struggle to get out in transition. It really kind of hindered them. And I think this was like the main change that Adelman made that really impressed me from Adelman, because it's the first time I'm kind of seeing him in a playoff series. He did some good stuff in the Clippers series, but watching it here, again, more locked in on this round than I was last round. So watching it here, it's just really impressive to me what Adelman's doing with some of those adjustments for the zone. And it really got the Thunder off their game, especially Shea. Like, Shea ended up settling for a lot of shots near the end of the game where you're like, man, like, could you get a better shot here? And if Jalen Williams has 32, like, Shea's got to be willing to say, hey, like, you're the one that's going, right? Like, why don't we get you the ball? And you can continue to create shots. Like, Jalen Williams is not going to give you 32 every night, which is something I'll get to from game 4, because game 4 was not his best. But looking at it that way, it was just really interesting. And then another struggle for Mark Dagnall. Mark Dagnall is one of my favorite coaches in the NBA, but his substitutions were not great. You know, he starts overtime with Caruso in at the 4 to one big lineup, and right away Jokic attacks it off the screen and roll and scores immediately. Like, your 2 big lineup is working. Jokic is literally, I'll look at his field goal percentage now. He's literally 8 for 25 from the field and 0 for 10 from 3. He had 20, 16, and 6, which is still great numbers for shooting that poorly. But, like, why are you going away from the 2 big lineup? You know, Aaron Gordon just hits a great 3 when you're putting all of your attention on the Jokic, Jamal Murray 2-man game, and then it's a skip and Gordon hits a 3. Like, that's fine. You know, it's overtime. It's all right. You got a decent shot from Shea, who wasn't great in the game. But now you're in a situation where you're like, why are you taking Chet out of the game? Chet still has 16 rebounds, and he's rebounding great. He's doing stuff. It just didn't make sense there. He made a quick sub to get him back in, but by that point, it was too late. Like, the Thunder just weren't rolling on offense. They're super confused, bringing the ball up. You know, like, sometimes the Nuggets were in zone, sometimes they're in man, and they just didn't seem ready, you know, and that's part of them being the youngest team in the NBA. You know, they just aren't full of those playoff experiences like the Nuggets would be. So, you know, this game was really tough for the Thunder, down 2-1 going into game 4. And this scheduling by the NBA, I'm going to talk about it before I get to game 4, is absolutely ridiculous. And I, like, right when I was watching the first quarter of this game, which the first quarter was probably the most ugly first quarter I've ever seen in NBA history. And I'm like, why is this happening? Like, there's no scoring. For context, the end of the first quarter was 17-8. I've never seen 8 points scored in the first quarter. And I asked myself, I'm like, why is this happening? And, you know, these teams are playing in Denver, so let's say like 2 hours. I might be wrong about that, but I believe it's 2-hour difference. So this game was at 3:30, so it'd probably be a 1:30 start on Sunday, right? So then 2-hour difference on Friday, right? It started at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So they're playing at 8 p.m. on Friday. And then they get Saturday off, and then Sunday they're rolling again at 1 o'clock. That's brutal. Most teams get 2 days off. Most teams, like, you get a lot more time off than that. And these teams just looked so sluggish going into this game. I mean, Chet Holmgren even said it when he was getting interviewed. Like, it felt like a back-to-back. And it really looked like it because, I mean, it seemed like a struggle. And you're looking at it, you're like, okay, this probably gives the Thunder a little bit of an advantage. And this just showed me how dang good the Thunder are. Like, their defense in this game was just unbelievable. They were handsy. They were still showing the energy. They were all over the place. Did not shoot the ball great. They shot 35% from the field, 24% from 3, but just completely out-rebounded the Nuggets. Were all over the place. Jokic really struggling again. He had 27, 13, and 3, but 7 of 22 from the field. And this game, like, the Nuggets just could not shoot the ball. They were not in on it. Westbrook, 2 of 9 from 3. Christian Brown, 2 of 9 from 3. Aaron Gordon, another fantastic game. He has looked awesome in this series. 15, 16. He was 3 of 7 from 3, 5 of 10. But like Michael Porter Jr., 0 of 5 from 3. Jamal Murray, 5 of 15 from the floor. When you get those kind of performances, it's tough to win. And the Nuggets, they're only playing guys over 10 minutes. They only played 6 guys over 10 minutes. And like, it just goes to show you that this team doesn't have like enough depth. And this is what we talked about in a very early podcast when we were like, what's wrong with the Nuggets? And then Jokic seemed to fix the problem and make them the 4 seed. That's part of the reason why I think he's the MVP, because I don't think this team is very good at all. And the fact that they're doing this shocks me. The fact that this series is 2-2 shocks me completely, because I think the Thunder are one of the best defensive teams we've seen. Again, they looked awesome. And again, I'm looking at Isaiah Joe, and I'm looking at 0 for 4, 0 for 3 from 3. I'm like, dude, you need to get going in order for the Thunder to control this. But I'm also looking at Case and Wallace, and I was like, man, that was the best performance I've seen from that guy. He defended the ball like a maniac, was all over the place on Jamal Murray. I always think Murray is uncomfortable when he's on the floor. His defense is that good. And then offensively, 3 for 3 from 3, 4 for 7 from the field. I mean, he looked energized. He looked ready to go. Aaron Wiggins came off the bench, really helped the Thunder. Alex Caruso was great for the Thunder. They played him a little more, and he was fantastic, 28 minutes. This was not Jalen Williams' game. He was 2 for 13 from the floor. Wasn't that great. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hit some big shots. It wasn't exactly what you wanted to see. He's still 8 for 19, struggled. Case and Wallace was huge because Dort wasn't on either. He was 2 for 10 from 3, but Dort was really defending. Like, all these guys were really defending. Chet wasn't his best game, but he was rebounding. Hardenstein, I felt like it was one of his better games. He had 8 points, 14 rebounds. Again, that floater needs to go down more. Like, the announcers were saying, like, oh, he's like 70% when he's hitting that floater. The Nuggets, if they're playing zone, they're going to be forcing that floater. You know, so if you're taking it, especially at that rate, he's taking probably 3 or 4 a game. He's got to hit it. He's got to hit it, because it's not a great shot. It's not a great shot. I mean, Oakland runs a zone defense, and we love it when people shoot a floater like that. So, you know, like, looking at it that way, it's not the best shot in the world. Like, you can definitely get better looks out of that. But looking at Hardenstein, I feel like he's played great. He's played great defense on Jokic. He's been physical. He's been tough. But you're looking at the series, it's 2-2 here. And, like, Jokic had his game 1. He struggled the rest of the way. Shai had great games game 1, game 2. He struggled the rest of the way. So I'm feeling like game 5, we're going to see a little bit more of a rested 2 teams. And they're going to be ready to go. And I feel like you're going to see a great game from Shai, great game from Jokic. And I think this is going to be a big test for the Thunder, because it's going to be like, okay, can you close game 5 out at home in a close game? And every number, every metric, when teams aren't dead tired like today, like the Thunder won by 5 points in this one. To me, it didn't feel like a close game, just because, like, it felt like the Thunder had more legs than the Nuggets. You get these teams both rested. It's a close game. Can the Thunder win in a close game like that? That's my question here. And I want the Thunder to go through these scars, because I really feel like they're the best team in the NBA. That's my thought. I didn't pick it on the show, but off the show, when I was looking at playoffs and I was asked, like, hey, who do you think's winning it all? I was like, the Thunder. Like, I don't think anybody's beaten. They won 68 games. They're top 5 offense, top 5 defense. And the Thunder's defense, the Bill Simmons said it today when I was listening, and I agree completely. It seems like the Thunder's defense is like the best unit when you're looking at offense, defense in the NBA. It's like saying, like, oh, the Eagles had the best defense in football last year, and that's what they hung their hat on. You know, like, the Thunder are hanging their hat on their defense, because it's that legit. They're in passing lanes. They're all over the place. They're great in transition. I'm really excited whenever I see these 2 teams play. So the fact that we get this series is so cool. I'm very excited for game 5. I'm very excited. I'm hoping this goes 7, because it would be so much fun to see this series. This really reminds me of Timberwolves Nuggets last year, in a back and forth. Like, you're like, man, what are they going to do next? You know, it's push to shove. I'm just super excited. Like this is a great series, and I'm really happy to see Jokic like competing like this, and I'm happy to see how good the Thunder are, and the fact that they're facing hurdles, they're facing tests that they haven't faced before, and it's really cool to see which team will be able to figure out the answers for that. Okay, let's talk about Cavs Pacers here. This series it's been kind of interesting. I mean, to be honest with you, like I wasn't really looking that much forward to it going into it. I was like, okay, I feel like the Cavs are the better team and they're going to be able to control this. But man, was I wrong. Like this has been really impressive when it comes to the Pacers here. The Pacers are leading this series 3-1 and they've looked like the better team every time I've watched. And I really mainly focused on game 3, game 4. Um, but like you're looking at game 1, game 2, like Siakam has played okay. Like he's had some moments, but the guys that stand out to me for the Pacers when watching them are Nemhard and Miles Turner. Andrew Nemhard has always been one of my favorite guards in the NBA. He can hit step back threes like nobody's business. He's a really, really good shooter. He defends his butt off. Tyrese Halliburton and Nemhard always pick up full court and they're all over you. They never make you feel comfortable. And we'll get to that one talking about Donovan Mitchell and talking about Cleveland. And then Miles Turner, man, like he can really shoot the ball. I feel like every time I watch Indiana at Indiana, Turner's hitting a three and lighting up that crowd. That crowd is awesome, by the way. They've really got a great crowd, and it's kind of fun to see Indiana like this good. And then when you're looking at their bench, like they're deep, man. You got Benedict Mathurin off the bench. TJ McConnell is fantastic. He feeds off that crowd as well. And then Obi Toppin can have games where you're like, man, the athleticism on display is just unreal. And then looking at the rest of their lineup, you got Neesmith, who has really taken a step up defensively and I think with his three ball. If you're looking at his game 1 stats, he had 17 points, 8 rebounds. And then his defense, like the physicality with him has really picked up. And I think that's been awesome because Indiana, like, being able to pick up full court like Nemhard and Halliburton do. And then Neesmith will pick you up full court and he's all over you if you're trying to, when he goes over screens in that pick and roll. And I just really think Neesmith is a tough deal. Like, I don't think stars love seeing him because he's all over you and he's in your grill throughout the whole game. And then looking at it, Tyrese Halliburton is an absolute stud. When the game comes down to the wire, like you trust him. You're just like, okay, he's gonna get me a good shot. And you saw it on display in that Milwaukee game 5 where they snuck out of there alive and Halliburton had some crazy layups. And then you see it in this Cleveland series where he hits the unbelievable step back 3 in game 2. And to me, the Pacers have just been so impressive throughout. They have so much depth, like they can play anybody they want, and it's really been impressive when I've been watching this series. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, like game 2, the Cavs like really responded and looked good. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries with Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, and Evan Mobley were all out in game 2. And I'm watching that game, and Strus is playing well. He's 5 of 12 from 3. He played really well. Jerome struggled, which I'll get to in a little bit. And the Cavs are controlling game 2. And I'm like, man, like Cleveland's going to respond. It's going to be 1-1. It's going to be all right. Strus hits a 3, makes it a 7-point game. And I'm just like, all right, I'm going to bed. This game's over. And man, like, was I wrong? Anthony comes in my room and wakes me up, and he's like, dude, you just missed the craziest ending ever. And of course, like I get up the next morning and see it all over my social media, and I'm like, man, I guess I can't go to bed anymore because these games are just unbelievable. And that comeback and that just falling apart. Like the fact that Donovan Mitchell can have 48 points, he goes 15 for 30, and they lose that game, you're like, man, I think Cleveland's done. And it felt like that because Indiana took them 2-0, and you're like, man, like this is tough. And then you watch game 3, and Cleveland gets all their guys back, and there's 2 days rest here, which is super nice for Cleveland and super nice for Donovan Mitchell, and allows him to get his legs back. And even with the Pacers guards picking them up full court, like all of that. you see an unbelievable Mitchell performance. Like 43 points. He's all over the place. He's super composed. He's super calm. And it was just really impressive. Some of the performances that Donovan Mitchell can put on in the playoffs are just flat out ridiculous. And he put on two performances in game 2 and game 3 that were unbelievable. And they got the job done in game 3. The fact that they didn't get the job done and he had dang near 50 points, that's rough. That's really rough. But getting Evan Mobley back and getting Garland back was huge. Garland did not play well in this game, but the fact that, like he's just able to get downhill and it's able to create stuff for their offense. Like they're able to move the ball side to side when he gets into the game. Like it just goes side to side more. And when you have an offense that can do that, it's way better. You're way more efficient. Cleveland just looks like a completely different team offensively when Garland is in the game, and he really creates that for them. And then Evan Mobley is just like a unicorn. Like he can go in, shoot some threes if you want. He grabs a million rebounds. He's the defensive player of the year. He really helps their defense soar. And when you're looking at it, like it was just really impressive throughout the game from Cleveland. The thing that's been tough for Cleveland is like Ty Jerome has not been good at all. He was 1 for 8 in game 3. He was 1 for 10 in game 2. Like TJ McConnell is just really getting into him, and Jerome has just not been comfortable, which he's normally an offensive guy where you're like, man, like he's huge. Guys that have impressed me when looking at it, I like what Sam Merrill's doing. He's defending his heart out, and he's playing like full court defense. He's all over the place. He really makes it tough for you. You wouldn't think he's a great defender, but Ty Jerome talked about like how much of a defensive anchor he can be for their bench and how huge he is. And then Dean Wade, I feel like he's just another body. I wish he was better offensively because I do think he's actually a plus on defense. But he hasn't been like crazy good. Max Strus for them has been awesome. He's really stepped up to be that third guy in that rotate or that fifth guy in that rotation, and it's been really impressive. Jared Allen, he's been up and down. Like you like what he does for the most part, but like I wish it was just a little bit more, if you know what I'm saying there. And then when you look at game 4, like it was just a domination by Indiana. And it was something I didn't expect because you're like, okay, it's 2-1 now. Cleveland really stepped up to make it 2-1. And then you're looking at game 4 and you're like, okay, Cleveland's back. Like all their guys are back. And then Garland is sloppy again to start the game with 2 fouls. He was in foul trouble to begin game 3. And it didn't really matter because Cleveland really got off to a hot start and was really rolling. And then Garland comes in, turns it over the first possession, and Indiana goes down and scores. And then you're like, okay. Garland then has an off-ball foul that's pretty terrible where he pushes off the full court pressure to try to get the ball in bounce and get the offense going. And you're like, man, this could not be good. And then Garland gets his second quickly, and he's out of the game. Donovan Mitchell is struggling. Pacers defense really getting in on him. And also, I thought what Cleveland did really good in game 3, which Indiana struggled with, was they went with a kind of 1-2-2 zone, putting Evan Mobley at the top, which really kind of confused Indiana and slowed them down a little bit because Indiana plays at a really, really fast pace. Slowed them down, really confused them. Got them off their game. But Indiana was just ready for it the next game. Like Carlisle, sat him down, was like, hey, this is what they're doing. This is what we have to do. They're able to get the ball inside, create stuff with Siakam. Siakam was awesome in this game, 9 for 10, 21 points. And they were just hitting threes. They were all over the place from 3. Miles Turner, 4 for 4 from 3. Nesmith hits 2 threes starting that game. Nembhard was 1 for 2 from 3. And they were just really rolling. Obi Toppin off the bench, awesome, 20 points. TJ McConnell had 13 points, 8 assists. It's so funny watching TJ McConnell play because he's just such an energy guy, but he can't shoot. He's good on defense, but you could play off of him super far and he wouldn't hurt you that much, but he's just such a good playmaker. He's such a good team guy. He's all over the place and does the right things where you're like, man, we have to play him. And he's that kind of guy, he's awesome. And yeah, Indiana just dominated this from the start. If you're looking box score wise, it wasn't crazy impressive. Benedict Mathurin at the start of the game really got in DeAndre Hunter's head. DeAndre Hunter has not been good in this series. He's someone where if you're Cleveland, you're like, we traded so much for you, man. And you were supposed to be our 5th guy. that the wing guy that we can rely on. And Strus has just been way better than him. And then Hunter just hasn't been reliable. You've never seen DeAndre Hunter just get in his head like he has in the series. And Benedict Mathurin has been all over him. You have the play in game 1 where Mathurin like slams it on him. And I think that gets in his head. And then you have the quick double text that they both received in game 3. When they're jawing back and forth a little bit, should not have been double text, but it is what it is there. And then game 4 right away, you get right when Mathurin gets in the game, like a little tap below the belt, which wasn't great for Mathurin. And then it responds with DeAndre Hunter shoving him. And I love how, like Benedict Mathurin gets taken out of the game, but the fact that DeAndre Hunter shoves him to the ground he doesn't get suspended out of the game. Like, take them both out. Like, what's up with that? I'm fine with Mathurin getting suspended for that, but the fact that we're just accepting that DeAndre Hunter can just shove him for that's bull to me. I think they both should have been suspended out of that game. But yeah, and it just showed you from the jump that the Pacers had him like right away. And this Pacers team has been really, really impressive to me. They're really rolling. And I think they're scary. I mean, I think with the way that they're playing right now, they would be a scary matchup for Boston. I think they could do some stuff to Boston that would be kind of confusing. I think Boston's already got their hands full. They're down 2-1 to New York, which is a series we'll get to soon. But, looking at it that way, it's just I think Indiana wouldn't be just like a walk in the park like they were last year. I really think Indiana could fight Boston and really make it a series. Or if you're playing New York, it wouldn't be a walk in the park for New York either. That series went 7 last year. You both brought in a lot of talent. And I think no matter who Indiana plays in that Eastern Conference Finals, because I really don't think Cleveland could come back from this. It felt like Cleveland kind of fell apart as we watched. I mean, Donovan Mitchell tweaked his ankle a little bit. It doesn't seem like he'll be 100% for a while. Jared Allen just did not look good in game 4. And Garland's still clearly dealing with that toe injury. It just doesn't seem like that he has the burst. The best part of Cleveland, the two best parts to me have been Max Strus and Evan Mobley. And you love hearing Evan Mobley because I really feel like he's such a stud. When that Cade draft happened, there were talks hey, the Pistons might take a Mobley. And I was like, as long as it's one of those two, that's fine, because Mobley's a stud. And I'm happy we have Cade, but Mobley's a flat out stud. And you're looking at it that way and you're like, man, it's tough for Cleveland because they were 1 seed, going into it. They had so many great net rating stats. And then you lose some of your guys for the first 2 games. And then just like that, Indiana has you by the throat. And that's kind of what it seems like. I think it would be a ginormous surprise to me if Cleveland comes back in this series. And I've always been a very, very high on Cleveland. I was like, if they could find their 5th guy, they'd be all right. And everybody just assumed it'd be DeAndre Hunter. And I think we're clearly seeing the answer that he's not there yet mentally. And I feel like he's a great player. I feel like he'll figure it out. But right now, I think he's clearly not there mentally. And the fact that he could have a meltdown that badly, that's rough. That's really rough. And it's kind of the story to me with Cleveland is that Indiana was just pesky. They were more playoff prepared and got them at the wrong time. So that's kind of my opinion on that one. I think Indiana will get out of that series. And then looking at Denver OKC, I don't think Denver has enough. I think OKC, if you're looking at throughout these 4 games, if you're looking at it, Denver probably outplayed OKC. And if I'm thinking hard, one of the games, and you could argue in game 3 that OKC still outplayed them and they just kind of blew it. And then game 1, they clearly blew it. So to me, I think OKC is just clearly more talented and is going to be able to beat them. I'm hoping it's 7. I really want it to be 7 because, I picked OKC to win it all. And I feel like the best way for OKC to be able to win it all and to be ready to do it would be to already have a game 7 under their belt and already say, hey, the pressure's not going to get to us and win that. So I'm hoping OKC in 7. And then to be honest, I think Indiana's going to finish it in game 5. So those are my thoughts on those two series. All right. That is going to wrap up the show for today. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, wherever you're at. Please give us those 5 stars on Spotify and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Those are really big, really helps out the channel a lot. And I'll be back at you guys soon. Peace.